Let me
Yusek,
explain.
no, let me explain. Tapos na ang explanation.
Yung
She explain on your
Why?
behalf.
Yeah.
Ako naman. Kaya, ma'am, huwag kayong iiling-iling.
Yeah,
No, I don't like that. Huwag kang iling-iling. Para bang pinagtatawanan mo kami rito. Kasi kung sinasabi niyo po, nag-increase yung yield, bakit number one importer pa rin tayo number one importer na tayo ngayon ng rice?
For the next season, ma-achieve po natin
Ma'am,
yung pabawas.
napahaba na po ang
Ay, sorry.
explanation. Banda ba ang yield ng harvest since nagkaroon itong composting program at nakapaggastos na tayo ng bilyones? At ano-ano po yung lugar na nag-benefit ng gusto nito? And can you give us a comparative study, yung before composting and then during composting, kung nagkaroon pa ng pagbabago sa yield, sa harvest?
Answer that it was not supposed to improve the yield. The primary purpose is you have free fertilizer. Kasi pag ikaw gumawa ng fertilizer mo, libre yon. Kasi ito comes from kitchen and garden waste. So yung parang ito, imbes na itapon sa landfill yung kitchen and garden waste, ginagawang fertilizer. Kasi ito, experience namin 20 years sa Las Piñas, we, all our kitchen and garden waste, which is 50% of the waste, we compost into fertilizer. And because of that, we don't throw the 50% of our waste. So ngayon, tapos nire-recycle yung plastic waste, we save 300 million a year from throwing away garbage.
Tama po yun.
Oh, so the ano here is yung libre yung fertilizer. Tapos malinis yung bayan mo kasi you don't have to throw away the waste. You recycle the waste.
Kaya nga, di ba, libreng fertilizer. So sana, dahil may fertilizer, gaganda yung yield ng harvest, right? Versus kung walang fertilizer. Ngayon, nabigyan ng
Like to answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and Senator Tolpo. The use of organic fertilizer is actually part of our recommendations in improving the yield of our rice. So it's part of the balanced fertilization. So it's not just using purely organic. So for example, Madam Chair, Mr. Senator, in our recommendation, we recommend at least 10 bags of organic fertilizer in addition to the use of the rice straw that is already in the field. Then you can also add additional inorganic fertilizer or biofertilizer. Now, the significance of using organic compost is that it has other micronutrients that are not available in inorganic. In inorganic, you have only N, P, and K at most. Whereas in organic fertilizer, you have the micronutrients like magnesium, sulfur, zinc, and then it also enhances the soil quality, the water retention, and then the sustainability of the rice farming in the long term.
Itong composting po, fertilizer, ginagamit niyo po to sa palay?
As part of the fertilization process
palay.
Sa rice.
Okay, sa rice. Hindi ho angkop dapat to kasi patubig yung sa rice, lulutang po itong compost.
Hindi sir, kasi they have to be composted properly. If you just use the the rice straw or the waste material without composting it, then it will float. But if it is properly using those composting machine, it's properly composted.
Okay.
And then it is degraded, then it is incorporated properly in the soil.
So do you have study to...
Use it in vegetable also.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with vegetable kasi, Madam Chair, yung information na tanggap ko, hindi bagay. Sa vegetable, okay ito, in composting. Pero pagdating sa rice, hindi. Dahil sa rice, patubig yan. So, nandun yung possibility na lulutang to, itong composting.
It's part of our recommendation, Madam Chair and Mr.
Rice, because they told me that compost with animal manure is very suited for rice. Can we call field rice now?
Yeah, this is actually what I'm saying is part of the recommendation of field rice, Madam Chair.
Ngayon po yung tanong nyo na nakaka-contribute ba to sa yield. Mahirap pong i-separate kasi yung ano ba yung na-contribute niya dun sa total yield. Pero sa practice po talagang ginagamit yan ng ating mga farmers. Even po sa field rice, sa ating mga experiment stations po, ginagamit.
So meron ba kayong studies nito na angkop na angkop talaga ang composting sa rice?
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, I would just like to give you an example. Do you remember in one time in Kadiwa at DA they were selling rice at 25 pesos? That those cooperative are using purely organic. They're not using inorganic. They're using organic fertilizer and biofertilizer. And their cost of production, because they only use organic and biofertilizer, their cost of production is such a level that because the co-op also do the milling, the drying, they were able to sell it at 25 pesos just early this year and late last year. So that is how they were able to reduce their cost. And this is actually one of the technologies that we are scaling in our proposal, Madam Chair, in that agro, we call it Eco-SRI. This is purely organic way of raising rice, of growing rice at a yield that it is still good for farmers who have limited resources. So that is the target of the Eco-SRI, Madam. Do you still remember the one clustering that we have in the proposal, Madam Chair?
Thank you for that answer. Now,
Pong farmer na nakakabenta sa Kadiwa store ng 25 pesos per kilo, their cost of production is 8 pesos per kilo sa Nueva Ecija. And I'm glad they're using this organic fertilizer for that. Kaya malaki ang tulong kasi hindi nabibili ng fertilizer. Tapos malaking bawas sa gastos yung pagbili ng fertilizer.
Yes, Madam Chair, and we want to scale that in bigger scale because the challenge always in the Philippines, Madam Chair, is that we demonstrate it, but then we don't do it in scale. So that's why in our program now, we want to fund it and do it in larger scale with more farmers participating, more cooperatives participating.
Paano mo binibili? Baka katulad ng fertilizer, may issue. How do you go about buying the composter?
Thank you po, Madam Chair. First of all, yung question po tungkol sa does it increase yield? Definitely po it increases yield. Because just this year, 2023, we have a nationwide program all over the country on the adaptive balanced fertilization strategy. We have several protocols po depending on the target yield. And most of our demonstration is the target yield
Doctora, if I can interrupt, sabi mo, nagkaroon ng increase sa yield.
Yes po.
So meron ho ba kayong comparative study nung before composting and then during composting? Ilan po yung na-increase na yield?
Yes po.
Kasi kung sinasabi niyo po nag-increase yung yield, bakit number one importer pa rin tayo number one importer na tayo ngayon ng rice? Na-overtaken pa natin yung China.
Yeah, so that is the very reason po why we have to scale up and the very reason why we need to make use and intensify the distribution of our CFBW.
Kasi kung pag-uusapan natin yung yield ng rice para mabawasan ang ating importation at para makatulong sa ating mga farmer, okay ako sa composting. Pero hindi kaya mas maganda kung gumamit tayo yung urea, yung fertilizer na para mas mabilis yung yield sa production?
Okay, sir. Thank you po for that question. Actually, yes, truly the requirement for rice and other crop is high, and this should be sustained by the use of inorganic fertilizer. But over time, we are damaging the soil because with the use of compost, we are improving the quality of the soil. It enables the nutrients to be stored in the soil. It enables the water to be stored in the soil. Pagka pure urea po, para tayong nagtatapon ng fertilizer, pag ini-apply po natin sa lupa, kung sobra pang pagkakalagay, it will go to the groundwater. At hindi naman po lahat ma-absorb ng crop. Subalit kung gagamit po tayo ng compost, this will be slowly available at the right time na kaya namang i-absorb ng crop. Kaya po yung adaptive balance fertilization strategy, meron po kaming protocol. During the land preparation, doon po natin ini-incorporate ang compost. Then yung pag-apply po natin ng fertilizer, we do it at the right amount, at the proper time, and at the proper location. Wala pong maaaksaya. So
Okay.
that's the reason po kung bakit tumataas ang kita sapagkat wala pong naaksayang fertilizer, and at the same time, over time, long-term of use ng ating compost will really save on fertilizer. Naka-store na po, may residual effect. For the next season, ma-achieve po natin
Ma'am,
yung pabawas.
napahaba na po ang ano nyo,
Ay, sorry.
explanation. Now, let's move on. Dito naman po sa similya, sa seeds, yung RCEF, Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. Meron kayong tinatawag na inbred program at meron kayong hybrid program. Tama? Ang inbred program, ang yield niyan, average 4,000 to 5,000 metric tons, kilograms. Okay. Versus sa hybrid, double the amount. So, bakit pa tayo pupunta dun sa inbred program na kalahati lang ng hybrid program ang ni-yield sa production?
Can I answer that, Senator Tulfo?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, because I wrote that Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. And yung inbred seedlings po natin made in the Philippines. It was discovered by Phil Rice. Ang maximum niyang yield is 6 metric tons per hectare. And it costs 38 pesos per kilo. Yung hybrid seedlings po, lahat yon imported. And it costs 250 pesos per kilo. And ang yield po niya is, sabi nila, 8 to 10 metric tons per hectare. And para mo ma-achieve yung 8 to 10 metric tons per hectare, you have to have a lot of inputs na the poor farmers cannot afford. Kaya kami, sa poor farmers, we recommend the inbred seedlings kasi made in the Philippines at ang nagsusupply nito ay co-op of Filipino farmers.
Understand.
Yun. Kaya, at tapos, kung wala kang masyadong gagastahin sa inputs, okay sa'yo ang inbred. And then, kung mayaman ka na, you can buy expensive seeds and you can afford higher inputs, you use hybrid.
In addition to the explanation of the Honorable Madam Chair of the committee, Senator Villar.
Kasi di ba,
Yeah. Let me
Yusek,
explain.
no, let me explain. Tapos na ang explanation.
Yung
She explain
additional.
on your
Why?
behalf.
Yeah.
Ako naman.
Okay.
Kasi nga, Yusek, for me, logic tells us na kung itong hybrid nag-yield ng more production, double ng inbred, almost double. In fact, ito nga si Danilo Bolos ng Nueva Ecija, nakakapag-produce siya using the hybrid program, 15 metric tons per hectare. Yung Syngenta, la Pioneer SL variety, it can produce 10 metric tons per hectare or more versus sa inbred na 4 to 5 lang. So if we're after high yield para mas marami tayong production, mas marami tayong harvest, di dapat mag-concentrate sa hybrid.
That is correct, Senator
Right?
Tolfo.
O bakit meron pati itong inbred program na gumagastos tayo ng bilyones dito?
We have 4.8
Kasi mas
million.
maganda gumastos na lang tayo ng bilyones sa hybrid para mas lalong dumami ang ating rice production.
We agree with you, Senator Tolfo.
Thank you.
We have 4.8 million hectares, and the target now is 1.9 million hectares will be for hybrid because we have to gradually increase. And our focus also is to maximize yield during the dry season, where the hybrid performs very well. The yields that you were mentioning were actually during the dry season. And during the wet season, we try to maximize the use of inbred. Because as of now, our inbred can adapt much better during the wet season, where there is a lot of pests and diseases. But there are also hybrids now that are coming up that are also good during the wet season. But nevertheless,
Hindi, kasi
there are
may mga
areas-
studies na yung hybrid is adaptable sa weather na pagdating sa mga ulan
that is
it
that is also true, Senator Tulfo.
Hindi, ma'am, huwag kayong iiling-iling.
Yeah,
No, I don't like that. Huwag kang iiling-iling. Para bang pinagtatawanan mo kami rito. Don't
that
do
is
that.
true. Yeah.
Don't ever do that, please.